Shalom, when I start off source by giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem God Kodash. Double honors to the apostle of great most and honors you brothers doing the work of the Most High in truth and in sincerity. Yahweh is the real name of whom the world English calls God, Jehovah or Yahweh. His real name is Yahweh. His son's true name is Yahweh Shai. And when we pray Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba meaning in, Ha meaning the, and Sham meaning names, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai. This one is inspired of something I had looked up a while ago, but it came up in conversation, yesterday when I was at the job, right? And this is basically the reason as to why, basically what I had searched was looking into why Thailand has so many, of those Decepticons, right? And then I remember going into how it basically allegedly all basically comes back from Buddhism, right? And I had heard that there were, the ideas of three genders in Buddhism. However, upon further investigation, came out to actually be four, right? And it kind of just goes to show you that these heathens, which obviously you're gonna have Israelites scattered all over the world, but for the most part, these damn heathens, right? They off, man, right? They're off. Their beliefs are off, right? And even as I'm saying this, I'm thinking about this precept because you'll get people that will try mix these scriptures with other things, but you can't do that, right? It says Isaiah 34:16, seek ye out of the book of Yahweh and read, right? Now the book of the Lord Yahweh, right, are these scriptures, right? Not nothing else, right? Not any of these other, these other, so-called holy books out there, because basically they all go off, right? The only truth, right, it comes out of these scriptures, right? So it says and read, it says, no one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate, for my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered him, right? And when it says none shall want her mate, basically meaning like you can't join these scriptures with anything else, because these scriptures, go against that whole, alphabet agenda, right? It goes, against that whole, wounding of your stones, okay? Let's save this for later because it also goes into this as well, right? And then let me also load up this one as well for in fact we can read this one now, right? So Deuteronomy 23:1, he that is wounded in the stones or hath his privy member cut off shall not enter into the congregation of Yahweh, right? So chopping off your privy member, that's off, man. Okay, replumbing yourself, that's completely and utterly wicked, right, and against the Most High. So this is on Buddhism and sexual orientation. I'll scan through it real quick, and then try to remember where the decent bits of information are. Right, early texts. I'm just jump down to Buddhist texts. Early texts. So within the early monastic texts, such as the Vinaya, right, male monks are explicitly forbidden from having sexual relations with any of the four genders: male, female, Ubato, Vyanjanaka, and Pandaka. Right, various meanings of these words are given below. Right, later the Buddha allowed the ordination of women, forbade ordination to these other types of people, right? With the exception, blah. Okay. So, is there anything in here that's good? Right. So this first one, that dodgy ass word, right? This is the word. That one is usually thought to describe people who have both male and female sexual characteristics, right? And then it goes into the word hermaphrodite, which, if I believe, let me look, hermaphrodite, right? An organism having both male and female sex organs or other sexual characteristics, either abnormally in the case of some organism, or in the case of some organism as the natural condition, Okay, so yeah, this is what it is. So once again, according to this information I'd come into, right, is one of the reasons why, over there you have, all of that freakism goes on, in that particular Buddhist country, right? And once again, if you, as you're reading this with me, it's like, yo, this is, this is just straight up madness, man. Right? So in the Vinaya, it is said that should not be ordained on account of the possibility that they would entice a fellow monk or nun into having sex, right? And but what does he do nowadays? He puts, those individuals, right, in prisons, right, locked up with people of the of the opposite sex. So he's letting in like biological men into prisons with biological women. Would you think that geezer's going to do? Right, he's going, he's eventually going to take it, man. Okay. So we're going to jump down to this next type, right? So the Pandaka is a complex category that is variously defined in different Buddhist texts, right? In the early text, the word seems to refer to a socially stigmatized class of trans, feminine, and or cross-dressing people. So we can jump over to Deuteronomy 22 and 5. It says, the woman shall not wear that which pertaineth to a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are abomination unto Yahweh thy power. Right? So continuing on, it says, argue that these people are grouped together with groups who are excluded. Also, now I missed a bit. So in the earliest text, the word seems to refer to a socially stigmatized, of a class of trans, feminine, and or cross-dressing people, some of whom may have been sex workers, right? And when you look into the data, I had to, double verify. But basically, in Thailand, it's up to like 15% of GDP, right? To like, up to like 15% of GDP, the whole sex industry, right? So one can, consider, that's one of the reasons why goes out to them countries there, right? To go and just, to just go around, pop, freak off, with these weirdo individuals and stuff like that. Okay. And, just to, because the thing is, I tried doing this, would you call it, this video before, but then, it wasn't convenient, unfortunately. But I had the data. What's today? Today is Wednesday. You just look, or maybe I looked it up on incognito mode because I didn't want to Google that. But basically, yeah, it comes around at like 15% of GDP, right? I'm just gonna Google it. F it. Industry GDP. Here we go. Move to another tab. Right. So you can see I ain't making it up. So a figure which accounts for 10. So this is the 2015 number. Right. And once again, I've seen one going up as high as 15. Right. Which, that's insane. Absolutely insane. But carrying on, says Paisan will argue that these people are often grouped together, yada yada yada. I mean, you can read this. Our laws, or if I remember, I'll leave links in the description box. Right. But when I was searching for more information, I came across something that I found very interesting. Right. And that is from this website, encyclopedia.com. Gender and religion, gender and Buddhism, right? And it was the fact that they started speaking about, because I had actually just disregarded this article when I was scanning it, but I saw mention here of, of second wave feminism, right? So it says, when the second wave of feminism began in the mid-60s, people did not immediately regard scholarship about religion as a feminist issue, but by the late 70s, a small group of scholars, mainly women, were keenly aware of the inadequacies of androcentric scholarship and its failure to provide a complete or accurate picture of whatever religion was being studied. In addition, many people were discussing the perceived injustices of male-dominated religions. It says, after a hiatus of almost 50 years during which no significant studies had appeared. Diana Y. Paul published a translation and commentary, Women in Buddhism, Images of the Feminine in Minor Tradition. Now, it's intriguing because, when you think about like that hippie, right, even these Edomite women really have, gone and basically fallen and taken to this, Buddhism and stuff like that, right? That freaky stuff, man. Okay. But yeah, I forgot there was something interesting about, I forgot where it was. 'Cause I don't wanna, but yeah, basically, that's one of the reasons why, if you think of like hippie, they've got that whole smoking weed, dreadlocks, and all of that sort of stuff, right? Feminism, right, which is mad. And last bit of info, right, which is kind of helps summarize this all a little bit, right? Pandaka from Wikipedia says is a Sanskrit and Pali sexuality term, which does not have a precise English translation. It says, but incorporates multiple, or perhaps confuse multiple concepts associated with immaturity, voyeurism, impotence, and infertility, right? It has been studied, blah, right? In the Vinaya Pali canon, 4 gender types are defined: male, female, and the other two that we've mentioned, right? The dodgy named one is intersex, a literally person with signs of both binary sexes and genders, right? So once again, you look at what's happening in this world, right, and all the talk, right, that around this, right, and all of that, Babylonian, weirdness and stuff like that. But even when you look at the, the picture of Baphomet, right, let me just pull one up. When you look at the picture of Baphomet, opening a new tab, just show me the picture, man. Move to another group. Right, when you look at the picture of Baphomet, is that's what you're seeing. You're seeing this, this weirdo. I mean, this is the energy that these elites are trying to push upon the world, right? A man with, woman's features, right? And you see here, right? Just this just image of, what do you call it? That is upheld in this world. But that's but people have a question when we're telling them, look, this place is going to be destroyed. Yeah, this is the reason why this place is going to be destroyed, right? Because it upholds witchcraft, right? Real quick, we're going to jump to Isaiah, the 47th chapter, right? And jump straight to the point. I'll read from 10. It says, for thou, Isaiah 47:10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me, right? The wickedness, and they be conjuring up, these demons, right? These, different, witches and warlocks that they have. Because wasn't it the same in Egypt, right? You had the Magi's and, the like, right, in ancient Egypt, right? And this is modern day Egypt. And basically they try and, these elites try and conjure up the same energies, right, from way back when, right? So thou hast said, none seeth me, thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me, right? So Esau thinks of himself as a god. So therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come up upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, right? If so be thou shalt be able to profit, or if so be thou mayest prevail. So basically, the Lord here is mocking, right? He's mocking, saying, man, all of those enchantments and sorceries, right, wherein you have basically, done from thy youth, i.e. from the inception of America, right? Stand by that. Right? If so, if it be good, right? If those sorceries actually will work, right? Then you'll be okay, right? But of course, the Lord is being facetious, is taking the piss, right? Verse 13, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels, right? Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee, right? And you cannot save yourself for the things that, are gonna come upon this world, right? Because the Lord has deemed it such that this society, right, led by the Edomites, right, is going to be destroyed, right, and the Edomites will ultimately be destroyed, right, after a period of 1,000 years of hardcore bondage. Okay, But yeah, so historic references to have been superseded. It says that hermaphroditism has never been observed in humans. Panica is a less clear-cut case. All references have a central theme, some form of deficiency in male sexual blah blah blah. So yeah, that's whatever. So this I can't pronounce these words. So you're just gonna have to. Right, this first word, a man who gains satisfaction performing oral sex on another man, or on just man, then only becomes aroused after doing that thing, right? And that's an energy that is pushed out on the world, right? This is a voyeur, right? A man who gains sexual satisfaction from watching a man and a woman having sex and only becomes sexually aroused after that. Then the next one, a eunuch by assault, testicles that are annihilated by assault or violence. Once again, we read it in in Deuteronomy 23:1, right? He that is wounded in the stones. Okay. And then this other one, people who basically do it by way of the moon, right? Who get turned on by the moon phases, right? And then the last one, one with no clear genitals, right? Or and whatever, what have you. So a whole load of madness, ultimately. Okay, a whole load of absolute madness, that you have, right? But it goes to show you, right, that these other religions ain't it, right? These other religions are full of madness and witchcraft, okay? So it's in Psalms 96:4. It says, for the Lord is great and greatly to be praised. He's to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but Yahweh made the heavens, right? So all of these different idols, they're going to be cast down, right? They ain't going to be no remembrance of these different, heathenistic gods, in ways of like to reverence them, right? It'll be a thing of, man, you remember when you damn heathens used to worship them, weirdo, whatever, but that's about it. There ain't going to be no reverence of these gods in the kingdom, right? There ain't going to be no statues of them or any existence of them, right? Because what Yahweh Hashem Yahshua is about to do to this place, when he destroys it, right, everyone is going to know exactly who it was, right? That's what it says in Revelation 1:7, right? All eyes shall see him. Right, then you also think about when Rahab the harlot basically saw basically she was when she met the spies. What did she say to the spies? She said to the spies, look, man, we have heard what Yahweh did for thee, right? And in fact, I'm just going to finish off with one last precept. I was going to get something else, but in the interest of time, I was going to jump, close out on this, right? But it's Jeremiah 16:14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that it shall no more be said, Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he had driven them, and I'll bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. Okay. So basically, long story short, after this destruction, because the destruction is going to be so great, pursuant to what Jeremiah 30:7, right, Daniel's 12:1, right, it's going to be so great that everyone's going to be like, yo, that was Yahweh that did that. Okay, the salvation from ancient Egypt was great, but what Yahweh's about to do is going to eclipse that. Why? Because the destruction of this place needs to be so great. Okay, the great destruction of the Lord for the greatest kingdom that has ever lived. You read Isaiah 60:2, speaks about the gross darkness, right, of this land, right? So as always, Lord, that was edifying. Till the next time, I say shalom.